This story is not about coincidence. It's about patterns, privilege, and how someone can hide behind grief, gender, and sympathy while bodies keep dropping. Two husbands, two gunshots to the head, and a woman who always seems to be right there, holding the narrative. Let's break this down piece by piece because the more you listen, the harder it becomes to believe this was bad luck.
911, what do you have to cover emergency?
My husband is dead. He has blood under his head. No. It's all bloody.
He's all bloody?
Yeah.
Where's he bleeding from?
It looks like the back of his head. It looks like somebody's been through here.
This chilling 911 call was made by Miriam Helmick on June 10th, 2018.
Alan was on the floor in the kitchen. It looked like he had been shot in the head, and we had a bullet casing next to his body.
When officers asked Miriam if she had any doubts about who could have done it, Miriam named her stepson.
And right here is the first red flag. She doesn't say, "I don't know." She doesn't say, "I'm scared." She names someone. That's not fear. That's deflection. Innocent people look outward in confusion. Manipulators look outward with direction.
The case took an even stranger turn when Miriam claimed to have found a note from the killer.
There's a card inside that says, "Alan's first, you're next. Run, run, run."
But the most unexpected twist came when detectives realized the killer had been inspired by the plot of a movie.
The crime scene reminded investigators of a movie scene?
She was with her friend Penny. They had just gotten back from shopping. She goes up to her front door and she sees an envelope sticking out from under the mat. And when she opens that envelope, there's a card inside that says, "Alan's first, you're next. Run, run, run."
She collapses to the ground, becomes very distraught.
Miriam calls me, and she's frantic. And she goes, "What should I do?" And I said, "Well, you need to hang up the phone and call the police and get out of there." I said, "Because somebody could be there trying to hurt you."
The greeting card is turned over by Miriam to her lawyer, who then notifies the police.
Think
It was
about
her.
that.
She-
not to police,
she was wearing
not
the same
immediately,
style of
but
shirt
through a
that
legal
she had
buffer.
walked in with
That's
her
not how
interview. It was
terrified
just a
people
different
act.
color
That's how
combination.
calculated people manage exposure. The note doesn't protect her, it positions her.
Miriam was beginning to seem more and more suspicious to them. So it was time to speak to Alan's children and learn what they could about Miriam's relationship with their father.
There was the sudden loss of her daughter, and then a shocking development with her first husband.
While Miriam and her first husband, Jack, were in bed, Jack shot himself in the head.
It seemed Alan was not the first husband of Miriam's to die from a gunshot wound to the head. At the time, Jack Giles' death was ruled as a suicide, and considering that he and Miriam had lost one of their daughters just a short while prior, it had not been questioned much. But when the detectives now looked into the past case file, a few suspicious details stood out to them.
Police ruled it a suicide. There were some strange circumstances, though. Things like he used his right hand to pull the trigger. Jack was a lefty.
In addition to this, the local officer who had ruled the case as suicide had been none other than Miriam's half-brother. Just
This
a
is
few
where
months
the
after
system
Alan's
fails.
death, and with
Hard.
suspicion mounting
If this
against
were a
her,
man or
Miriam
someone
had begun
without
to see
connections,
somebody else.
this case gets reopened immediately. But family ties plus tragedy plus sympathy equals blind spots. That's not justice. That's privilege.
Miriam had contacted me first. She wrote, "Saw your profile and loved it. I can dance, any dance, and I'm pretty good at it. Your profile requirement described me complete to a T."
She says, "I'm going to go down there." I said, "You what?" I mean, this is just months after Alan had died. Even my girls were like, "Gosh, she's dating already?" And I said, "Yeah."
From the looks of things, Miriam had not even waited for Alan's case to be solved before she went on the hunt for her next rich husband. This was a stark contrast from the heartbroken wife that she'd tried to act as when the detectives first spoke to her. Now they were almost sure she was involved in some way. The only problem was, all the information was circumstantial at best. They had no evidence to prove her involvement, but Alan's children had one last bombshell to reveal.
One of Alan's children said she specifically remembered seeing a .25 caliber pistol in his sock drawer.
They couldn't find that gun after the murder.
While the police now had a decent amount of circumstantial evidence against Miriam, They were still on the hunt for something more concrete. They were able to apply for a warrant to review her phone records and computer, and what they found would leave them shaken to their core.
I recovered approximately 180 online medical searches for things such as Viagra overdose, Ambien overdose, lisinopril overdose, a combination of those three drugs mixed together, pain-killing overdoses.
The time frame of these searches was in the months leading up to his murder.
This isn't curiosity. This is preparation. People don't research overdoses like this unless they're planning something or testing boundaries. And suddenly, the illnesses make sense.
The very same time that Alan's children had said he'd mysteriously fallen ill and had distanced himself from them. Could his sickness have been due to Miriam's attempts to get him to...
This case is a masterclass in plausible deniability. No single piece proves everything. But together, they paint a picture that's impossible to ignore.